guys, welcome back to the letter. This is TJ Gamer Girl signing on. So, last time, just shit hit the fan. Shit really hit the fan. Holy shit. And, everyone's in trouble. Trapped in the mansion with a crazy ghost who wants to kill them. There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement. Using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do now? We're all desperate to get out of this house. There's only 7 of us in this room. 4 of them, friends at that. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. Bloody hell, even Hana's giving me the same look as them now. Though Mint has already gone a loon, crouched in a corner muttering to herself, you can't really say anyone's safe from her. If anything, she's the one I should watch out for. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind steel and feathers. But I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. Why, even Hana has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does them much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? Because that backfired on her now that she and her own friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. All because these people came into our lives.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Luke, please put that knife away. This isn't going to solve anything.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, for this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened!
There's some voice acting there, but she's right. Is your life all that matters to you?
What about these people here? Don't they have the same problem? What about me, Luke? Do you even care?
Are you taking their side? You're also stuck in this nightmare, Hana! That creature is out to get us, and you're still defending these people!
I'm not defending anyone, Luke. I'm just trying to be reasonable when you're clearly not.
Oh, of course you're not. You're just the one who bought this bloody mansion to begin with. If I didn't know any better, you did this on purpose.
Why, no. Why would I ever do that? This was only meant to be an anniversary gift. For you. For us. For the family we're going to have.
Right, anniversary gift. Oh, here's your gift, darling. Oh, by the way, there's a curse included in that package. I hope that's all right. Are you really that eager to get rid of me, Hana? Because if that's what you've been meaning to do all this time, you might as well just put a knife in my back while I'm...
Suddenly, Hana steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand. Said knife slides uselessly under the table out of my reach. Before my mind registers what's happening, a sharp blow explodes on the side of my head, sending me reeling backwards. Oh, wow! Hana! My girl! Woo! Whew. She merely stands before me afterwards, without even batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Sometimes I forget.
Don't you dare, Luke. Don't you dare imply I've ever thought of you that way.
That Hana is never the weak woman I believed her to be. How did I come to think of her as such? She used to be someone I can look up to, isn't she? When you look at her now, the way she stands tall, facing a man like me, same way she's done so all those years ago, can't help but think, am I not responsible for taking that part of herself away from her? Enjoy your time as Mrs. Luke Wright. What a bunch of shite. Figures why she wants to leave me.
And these people are only trying to help us.
Oh, of course, by barging into our home. Are you really going to trust them to save your life? These peasants who brought this pox upon us.
Keep talking about us like that, and see if any of us here will keep you out of this place.
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She's always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She's never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. If anything, that meltdown she had during the open house had only proven my assumptions. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at together. The way she glares at me reminds me of the way my own mum would look at me. Particularly when I've done something wrong, and it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She's done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not two mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. Note that that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Steel, the big oaf, doesn't even dare break it. Neither does Feathers. We're both merely watching us. Bunch of whimsies, men. Not if that matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension has lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows, while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
we still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on about how she makes herself appear, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb at us. Doesn't quite sit well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of it, even her friends have no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter in my hand still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Hey, hands off her, right?
Fuck off, Feathers. I have questions for your friend, and she better have the answers.
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spreads across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damned paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that. You know something.
Ow! Please, sir. I know the paper's useless, okay?
At the mention of the letter, all of a sudden Mint stands. I've almost forgotten she was here. Her ramblings have faded away in the shouting. Without warning, she snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip there and then. But the way she glares at it, I think she may want to do exactly that.
We should have gotten rid of this thing. We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got.
No, even if we rip it to shreds, it won't do anything. I think...
You don't know what I've seen, Santos. There were children, victims, all because they had no idea what this thing will do to them. Oh God, those poor souls. They were screaming and begging before she...
Then what about those people they mentioned in the news lately? All those who died? My coworkers? The open house clients? None of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
Is that what the trip to BRC was for?
Yes, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you guys until I was certain. None of you believed me the first time. I had to find proof.
And yet we're all here. Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
I have to go with whiskey on this. Who knows how many has already seen this before you found it? This cursed thing has to go!
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please.
All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele had been quiet this entire time. At the sound of him talking, however whispered it is, still manages to catch us all off guard. We all pause, turning to him with likely the same question in our eyes.
What?
I just remembered something a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach?
There's still a moment where he hesitates, but Lily's urging eventually spurs him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
You mean what Andrew told you? Those were just stories, Zach. It might not even help.
Regardless, Steele pauses when he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her, and her face lights up with something like hope? Of all things, and this nightmare, hope. Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance or confirmation? The meaning is lost to even Daisy, who glances at them baffled.
Belle, what are you... Becca, it's this place.
What? You mean, like, burn this place down?
I still think we should get rid of this letter before we start thinking of destroying a place with some historical value.
What? No! We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this!
Seriously, Luke, are you really more worried about that?
Buttercup, marching, millions. It's going to take years getting all that money back.
Well, you certainly won't be getting any of that money if you're dead. Really, Luke? Is that more important than your life?
Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have trespassers on my property, but they're also arsonists!
It's not only that. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain, and whatever else people use to scare children. Not that I believe any of it, as if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people. Officially off their rockers. To think I'll be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. Whatever did I do to the world? And of course it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here. You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone. The who doesn't have to be uttered out loud. There's only one person in this room who that woman calls after. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell, and it's in the reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they flicker over to me, though only briefly. She's also holding information on her own, or perhaps a realization she just had. Doesn't matter. I know when people have slowly started to turn on me, how do they think I last in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same thing to you. Put a knife in their back before they can act. Kill or be killed. Survival in a nutshell. What now? Are they going to throw me at that creature? See what happens to save themselves? I'm no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you?
Are you people implying that my husband, that we should just...
Of course! Of fucking course!
Luke, that isn't what I...
Are you all going to stoop that low?
It's nothing like that, Ash. All we're saying is that maybe he might be able to do something about this.
Drop it, you guys. We're not leaving anyone here.
Just like that, their bickering begins anew. Bloody peasants. My head's already aching just listening to them. To think this is all the solution they can come up with. I should have just stabbed them all and made a run for it. It doesn't help that with each second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. The voices have become louder and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking flip out. And they may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually they'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. Better find a way out of this place as soon as possible if I want to stay alive. Fuck, I still have so much to do. None of our choices seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand the shite about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. If I also have to be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. Less room for errors, with the only sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, they suggested it. I decide to... burn the mansion. That letter is useless. The mansion needs to go. The mansion needs to go! I'm going to regret this. I will. But with these cries growing louder, this has become the easiest decision I have ever made. I'm getting tired of hearing her sobbing, really. It's just irritating. Isn't she getting tired of it? Besides, someone has to act fast, think fast. And what else is the root cause of our problems but this place where the letter was found? No need to make things more complicated. It started here, why won't it end here? If what Lily has said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before someone thinks of putting this blasted place up on the market. When I get out of this place, I swear I'm suing a bunch of people. Run that estate company to the ground if need be. That you don't need to worry about that. They're already doing that themselves. We spent millions, damn it! Millions! With a sigh and perhaps a heavy heart, I open one of the drawers on my study table, taking a bottle of liquor out for myself, then passing it to every occupant in the room. They accept it, but not without a look of protest or a confused glance my way. It does shut them all up, so maybe I've done something good.
Luke, this isn't the time.
Even more when I pop the cork off the bottle and pour its contents onto the floor.
Well, what are you simpletons waiting for?
We wasted no time dousing the whole room, the smell of alcohol filling the air. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they were more eager to set this whole place on fire. And the blaze catches easily in this room when I set it alight, using the blasted paper as kindling. With the whole place drenched with wine and all manner of things alcoholic I've been hiding from Hannah, the small fire soon turns into an inferno. In a matter of seconds, we're out the door. It doesn't exactly lead to where I'm hoping it will. Although ending up in the kitchen does give us more reason to play like a bunch of pyromaniacs. Fishing the liquor stocks from the cupboards, we also do the same thing we've done to the study. Door after door, every room we pass, pouring bottle after bottle of expensive aged liquor and setting everything on fire, only leaving once the blaze has started in earnest. When we run out of liquor, we simply drop the bottle and take one of the many nooks I've stashed in one. One from many nooks I've stashed one. And there's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff, the shorts, the watered down kind. Gifts from distant relatives, friends, so-called friends. You name it, I've made sure there's always one within reach.
How many of these things do you keep in this house?
I always have a few bottles in the bedroom, the parlor, and the dining room.
You have problems, man.
Well, isn't this the time to discuss them?
Turns out it'll be useful now. Yeah, seriously, Ash. Less talking, more pouring. Not to drown out my sorrows, but for this wonder of wonders, though I suppose I can now say it has also saved my life. But there's no time for some introspection now, because with each room we pass and burn, the place also becomes easier to navigate. As if it's slowly righting itself, returning to what it's supposed to be. Soon we finally find ourselves standing before the main door. The strong odor of burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the doors of the rooms we previously torched, slowly filling the hall with a thick black smoke. The blaze has also started in earnest, in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms I've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the whole house. Fittingly, this is when she appears again before us, watching us from the top of the stairs while her world goes up in flames around her. However, what catches my eye is that expression on her face. Not the vile smile I've already grown accustomed to, or the one where her eyes gleam with a complete hatred. This one? Forlorn is the only word I can think to describe it.
No, please. Help me. Help me, please.
Can the dead still feel? Can she hear us? Or is that merely another one of her tricks to trap us in this nightmare? Like this, however, she seems almost like the woman she used to be. And I don't waste any time pondering over it. not with the exit just a few steps away. The door is finally open, and through it, I can glimpse the outside world. Safety. However, I do turn, if only to see the last of her. A farewell, more than anything. For all her attempts to lure me, draw me in, her wishes to be with me, she does not stop me. When I finally run from this horrid place, quietly she disappears. Watching a multi-million-pound house burn before me, for some reason, nothing about that bothers me. Maybe it's that one last look on her face that has changed it. Maybe it's what I've seen and heard inside. There's only a calm, a stillness, the same hush that comes from a terrible storm, that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. And with it is the sight of the sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxburn's countryside. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze, passing draft that carries even into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver. The remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. We are free. Epilogue. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxburn City after the incident. Officers who investigated have simply deemed it an unfortunate accident. Regardless of the truth, Luke Wright files criminal charges against Briar Realty Corporation after, for undisclosed reasons to the public, forcing the latter to declare bankruptcy. A move that has merely stoked the rumors further. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time, those will finally be revealed. Only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and the thunder booms across the sky, some still claim to hearing of voices where it once stood. Of cries and wails that fill the nights, desperate calls for help for anyone who dares listen. And for those who once tread its halls. Unable to settle their differences, Hannah Wright eventually files for a divorce from Luke Wright. Well, damn. For several months, they become the subject of gossips and the mass media in the city. In spite of this, the two have uncharacteristically remained tight-lipped on the circumstances of their separation. Though many assumed it's the inevitable falling out stemming from the trouble during the couple's housewarming party. To everyone's surprise, however, Luke Wright quietly accepts the court's decision and disappears from the Evan heiress's life, without creating much fuss. That is a surprise, actually. Even after Hannah Evans has given birth to their children months later, the man is rarely seen around the family. Merely leaving his children paltry gifts in the mailbox whenever he's in town, never showing his face. With the Wright couple's separation also comes the Wright-Evans conglomerate split up. Although the Wright enterprise still manages to do well in the business with Evans Incorporated back as a competitor, other tech leak places its CEO and the company under legal spotlight months later. This time, however, with the Chief Inspector Harvey Lee's sudden absence, the businessman isn't able to escape close scrutiny. In an investigation headed by LPD's Detective Inspector Ashton Frey, all of Wright Enterprises' illegal business dealings within the past 10 years come to light. Although this involvement with other crimes is still being investigated, the disclosure has caused a huge outcry, especially from the city's business sector. Perhaps this is for the best. Sued on multiple grounds, the company is ultimately forced to shut down. Oddly, when Luke Wright steps out of his office one last time, there's only a small smile on his face. To avoid public outrage, the once affluent businessman immediately leaves the city. All of his bank accounts have been emptied, including his Luxburn apartments, leaving not a single trace or clue where he might be hiding. The last anyone has seen of the man was on a flight bound for Ireland. To this day, no one has heard from him. Not even Hannah Evans. Even his people from the old Wright Enterprise, who have all been left to deal with the aftermath. I'm not surprised. Though, over the past few months, after the situation was calmed, some have made claims of spotting him flitting in and out of the city, if only to check on those he's left behind. Following the company split, Hannah Evans re-establishes Evans Incorporated, becoming CEO like her late father has always wanted for her. Though a bit out of practice and doubted by many people at first, the Evans heiress quickly finds her bearings and proves to be every bit as talented in her business as her parents. Soon, under her management, the new Evans Inc. flourishes and becomes one of the prime investment and finance companies in Luxburn City. Months after her recovery, Marianne McCulloch heads back to her homeland, ready to close a chapter of a past she has left hanging for so long. There, she visits Lorraine's grave, asking for forgiveness from the girl she once loved, something she has intentionally avoided for years. Although the terror of what she's witnessed inside the Ermengarde mansion still clings to her, she bravely chooses to move on from it. Turning a new leaf by focusing on a new branch of her interior design company, and leaving her interior design company at Luxburn in the hands of her secretary instead. Although she never returns to the city after, she's frequently seen visiting to check on the people she's become acquainted with in her years there. Having finally accepted herself, she won't deny she's in a happier place now. Despite making the Ireland branch of her interior design company her focus now, Marianne continues to cater to her most avid patrons in Luxburn when requested. And after her work on the Ermengarde mansion, Hannah Evans has never trusted another to handle the design for any of the place she owns. Upon moving back to Evans' mansion after her divorce, Marianne's name is the first thing she calls, and the woman is quick to fly back to the city at the socialite's summons. Not only helping with the decorations of the old place, but also assisting with the renovations, much to Hannah's delight. Since then, the two women have kept a close friendship and business relationship. Often they can be seen going around town together when Marianne's in town, and the Evans heiress can be heard recommending the designer to her peers during parties. Some even may go as far as to say Hannah Evans has confided with Marianne McCulloch during the tumultuous time of her divorce with Luke Wright. Whatever the case is, no one can deny that both women have found a confidant in the other. With help from family and friends, Zachary Steele is soon able to open a photography studio of his own, something he's only dreamed of having as a child. Although he still hopes to get back to making indie films someday, client work and small projects has kept him mostly busy. Hectic as it may be, he can only be glad for the amount of work pouring in. It's made moving from the incident in the Ermengarde mansion easier, if not faster. But while there are still nightmares, with support from his family, his doctor, and his own drive, the dark images have finally turned into pleasant dreams. He's aware he won't ever truly forget, but he's no longer running away. At times when he's not busy or after a hard day's work, he thinks there's another story for the big screen to be told in that. An idea he may soon turn to reality once his time affords it. In the months that follow, Rebecca Gales becomes a prominent researcher within Luxburn's major academic circles, especially after writing what she discovered about Ansem Village and the Ermengarde mansion. With the help from Professor Clark, she's soon able to secure funding to continue her research, presenting her findings yearly at local and international symposiums. Now at the tail end of her current study, she hopes to publish her first book, correcting all inaccuracies in the city's current history. A move supported by both colleagues, students, and friends alike. Though she knows she still has a long way to go before she can even begin to change people's minds about it, Professor Clark has warned her as much. She perseveres. Doing it not for herself, but for the sake of a history the future generation must never forget. No matter how disturbing her experience with the curse may have been, she remains as a worrywart she's always been. Even after what she's seen, she continues to fret over people she cares about, sometimes much to their frustration or embarrassment. But if there's one thing that has shifted, It's her relationship with the people in her group, particularly Zachary Steele. In fact, on numerous occasions, she's been spotted dropping by his new studio, bringing the man food on days when he's swamped with work. They all seem to have grown more comfortable around each other than before. Maybe it's born out of the shared experience. Or maybe they see each other has simply changed naturally due to the years they've known each other. Regardless of why, it's a change the man welcomes and appreciates. In turn, he strives to return her kind gestures whenever he can. For all the horrors they've seen, who would have thought something good would come of it? Maybe they'd get together. Things have inevitably become strained between Ashton Frey and Rebecca Gales in the months following her confession. And with their lives getting busier, the two have eventually drifted apart. Although neither talks about it, and the teacher still strives to forget an old love, it's clear in Rebecca that there are still feelings she couldn't let go of. If anything, however, this has only made it obvious how much has changed between them. And how much she has clung to the idea of Ashton from their younger days. The one that may not have been there in the first place. Merely an idea for a starry-eyed young girl. But if there will be a time she will be able to accept this, to move on from the hurt and repair an old friendship that has fallen to ruin, only she knows. With her newfound courage, Isabella Santos finally chooses to pursue what she really wants for herself. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, and with their blessing, she quits her job at Briar Realty Company and takes a scholarship offer from the local university. Though remarkably out of practice and unsure if she'll be able to keep up by the time she returns to university, she finds her feet soon enough with the help from people close to her. And with her confidence in her skills growing, so do the number of people recognizing her and her work. It doesn't take long for several award-giving bodies to take notice of her. For all of her accomplishments, however, she has never truly forgotten what happened at the Ermengarde mansion. The images still remain in her, and on particularly unpleasant nights, terrors continue to visit her dreams. She knows those won't ever disappear from her life. It's become a part of her in the same way death has permanently taken from her. However, she's no longer afraid. And with a brave face, she carries on, earnestly wishing that someday she'll be able to paint brighter, more vivid thoughts on the canvas. An honest portrayal of life, and hope amidst the fear. Shortly after accepting the scholarship grant from Luxburn University, Isabella moves from Salemwell residences in favor of staying in a dorm close to her campus. Although Rebecca Gales is quick to offer assistance for the move, she does admit she'll be missing her neighbor of more than 5 years. When all said and done, she's become fonder of the girl over the years, and with their shared experience over the curse, they've only grown closer. Isabella leaves with a promise to visit every once in a while. And even though she still jokingly complains about Rebecca's bossy attitude, she confesses that she also misses the woman's fussing. After all, in a place miles away from her real family, Rebecca is the closest thing she has to a sister. More than a year later, once everything in their respective lives have settled, Zachary Steele and Isabella Santos finally hold their first exhibit together. A project that has been in the making for almost 2 years after the photographer casually brought it up to the other artist. While merely intended as a small event, it has been surprisingly attended by several members of Luxburn's upper class and art enthusiasts. Only a few of the pieces have been meant for sale. The show has brought prominence to Zachary and Isabella's names in the city's art scene. It has since been followed by several other exhibits by the two, both in and out of the city. Currently, they are planning to hold their first show overseas. Yet with this unexpected, overwhelming fame, friendship between the two has remained strong. Theirs, after all, is a bond that goes beyond mere partners in this small project. He's her family, as much as she is his. Following the success in bringing the Luxburn firm case to a close, Ashton Frey receives a recommendation for transfer to Luxburn's lead agency against organized crime. An endorsement eagerly backed by a newly appointed successor to the late Chief Lee, Abigail Harris. Knowing he'll have more resources, leeway, and a bigger chance at ultimately bringing Luke Wright to justice, Ashton Frey accepts. He still warns the people close to him against Wright and his associates, but only a friendly reminder now, more than anything. Though he does worry He believes they're wise enough to know what they're doing and trust their judgment. For now, he's decided to leave the evidence and the law to speak for itself and take care of the man once the proper time comes. Nowadays, police work and operations keep him busy, sometimes taking him away from the city he grew up in for days on end. A rare thing for him to enjoy once upon a time, yet this time he never loses his drive. Simply growing more determined after having finally found a clear purpose close to the rush and excitement he dreamed of as a child. Though Ashton still keeps mum about specific details of his work, his experience with the curse has slowly taught him how to open up, especially to those he knows that genuinely care for him. He still has a long way to go, he knows that, but for the sake of the people who are still with him, those who have chosen to stay, he hopes there will come a time when he no longer has to hide behind his own lies. A day when he is no longer afraid of facing the truth in his own words. That picture. On his days off, Ashton is usually seen loitering around Zachary Steele's studio, either to help him out on one of his pet projects or exasperating the other man on purpose. Either or, it's mostly the latter. At certain times, he'll volunteer to model for one of Zach's projects, in spite of the photographer's reassurances that it is not needed. Regardless, Ashton insists, before complaining how meticulous the whole process is hours later, to Zach's utter amusement. Though sometimes they may get into small, trivial arguments, things have stayed cordial between the two. If anything, the ordeal they've both gone through has merely strengthened a friendship the detective didn't expect to find in anyone. After a bit of fumbling, of a few missteps here and there, and moments of briefly allowing their uncertainties to hang over them, Ashton Frey and Isabella Santos finally find a rhythm. Theirs isn't a soaring love story by any means, nor is it happily ever after, often told in the picture books by the girl has only ever dreamed of having in childhood. Far from it, in fact. Despite what people glimpse their eyes or glean from their gestures, they know both better than to cling to ideals. A stranger will say they're in love, hopelessly, genuinely, and there is certainly truth in it. One only has to look. However, what they never see is this. Beyond the soft smiles, fleeting glance, and gentle touches only meant for the other, is a grief. A terror that never seems to lift. Constantly filling their nights with echoes of an unforgiving wail and unwelcome dreams that stirs either awake in the darkest hours of dawn. It has never truly left them, and never will. In the same way the light scar on Ashton's hand will never fully heal, or the horrid images in Isabella's mind will never fade. But they cope. In hushed whispers and tender reassurances, with light kisses and long embraces. When that no longer suffices, when the horrors become too much for them to bear, they have each other. A warmth to hold on to in the coldest of nights. And for them, it is more than enough. So, that was a letter. I really enjoyed that. The artwork was beautiful, voice acting was great, characters were really likable, or hateable in the case of Luke, while being really believably flawed. Horror was purely atmospheric, with very little jump scares, which I enjoyed. And the QTEs, though I ended up finding out they didn't affect whether or not someone died permanently, they were still pretty tense, sometimes panic-inducing, especially the one in the BRC elevator. I was happy with the ending I got. Everyone survived, and this is officially my handcanon. Nothing matters. Nothing else matters. Nope. Nothing. No. Nothing matters. I'm happy. I'm happy with the ending I got. Hope you enjoyed this playthrough. I'll see you in the next daily. Till then, this is the Gamer Girl, signing off. Bye bye!
I want is room for each regret. So many fears to overcome. So little time to conquer them. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself.